What is going on, guys? Mike here from the Fantasy Designs here with another solo pod. I'm going to be telling you why you should be trading for 2022 picks, 2023 picks, and beyond. And it's kind of analyzing your dynasty team as a stock. Everything on your team is assets. Everything in your team has value. It will appreciate and depreciate as seasons go on. That's why every person, the most basic rebuild strategy is to get rid of all your veterans, because if they're 30, 31 years old, or they're a running back approaching that 27, 28-year-old running back cliff, they're going to fall off the cliff, and you don't have any value to show for it. And you're not going to win a championship because you're in a rebuild with these guys. So that's a basic strategy, but I'm going to go into why you should be trading for these 2022, 2023 picks and beyond. And that's because of the fact that you look at what people were paying for the picks right before this 2021 draft, when they were able to put a name like Jamar Chase, they were able to put a name like Trevor Lawrence, they were able to put a name like Najee or Travis Etienne, to that, they paid a lot more than what you paid maybe a year ago when you acquired these picks. You can get 2022 first, 2023 first at an absolute discount right now. And what's so great about these things, looking at it as like a stock exchange, is these values, these picks can never depreciate. If anything, they're always just going to go up in value. Once the 2022 draft comes in, people are going to be paying more for than when you originally bought for it this year. People in 2023 are going to be paying more for what they originally bought for it this year. And that's the idea of it, is it's almost investing in an Amazon, a Tesla, a Walmart of the world. You're investing in a big company that most likely you're not going to get this high end. You're not going to get the Justin Jefferson boom that you can get. No, is it going to appreciate that much? Is it going to turn into like a pick into a top 5 fantasy asset at wide receiver? No, it's not. But what you're doing is you're creating safety. You're guaranteeing yourself nothing can depreciate with that pick. You are guaranteeing yourself value. It's cash in your pocket that you're guaranteeing yourself. Now, as beyond popular belief, a lot of these guys bust. You don't want players on your team to depreciate. And on top of that, there's nothing wrong with having these boomer bust potential guys. There's nothing wrong with having these quote-unquote penny stocks, is how I like to look at it. Because, yes, it's good that they can go up 10, 20, 30 times worth of value. But if that's your entire strategy, there's a reason why penny stocks just disappear as companies. You just won't see them. Like, they will disappear as companies, and you won't be able to have a single thing to show for it. So, yes, it is good to go for the high boomer bust potential, but the problem with that is you might never ever get the value out of these guys. And I guarantee if you're in a rebuild, your team is probably chock full of those kinds of players. And what I'm trying to do is guarantee yourself guaranteed value by going out and trading these players. Trade your veterans if you have them. If you're in a rebuild and have veterans, that's bad enough. But if you do have veterans, try to trade them for future picks. Target these win-now teams in order to acquire picks. And don't be afraid, if you have a top-tier wide receiver that's a little bit older in age, to trade down to get yourself a young penny stock, a boomer-bust guy, along with a 2022, 2023 first-round pick. And the idea behind it is, once 2023 comes around, if you're in a rebuild, you're not trying to win in the next 2 years. You're trying to accumulate as much value, as much stock as you can for the next 2 to 3 years as possible. So what happens as 2023 comes around? Let's say all your penny stocks do boom. You do have all these players that end up becoming Justin Jeffersons, DK Metcalfs, Calvin Ridleys, and now you're chock full of all these superstar players. Well, now you can go in the 2023 draft and be able to pick a couple running backs. You look at Zeke, what he did year one, Saquon, what he did year one. These are all guys that can boom year one. You can go out and draft running backs in the 2023 class, and you would have a win-now team. That's the great part about it. But now let's say there aren't any great running backs with 2023. A little inside information for you. The 2023 class is going to be insane. That's the class I'm targeting right now. 2023 is going to be insane. The running backs, it's chock full of them. The wide receiver class is insane as well. So that's a great class to target. But let's say you don't like any of the running backs in that class. Now you can take these picks that have now appreciated in value. These picks that every person is now so desiring now, because now they can put a name to that pick. You can now go and trade them for these Derrick Henrys, these Zekes of today, these people that have 2 or 3 years left of great production, and you could put them on your win now team with all these boom penny stocks that you have, and now your team is in a win now state. You're in a great situation to win. When it also comes to rebuilds, you definitely want to draft wide receivers. If you are in a rebuild, you definitely want to draft wide receivers. You want the longevity of wide receivers. And that's what would be my strategy. You'd be drafting wide receivers and trading for these future picks. Because what you're going to end up doing is you're going to build a security blanket for yourself. If these penny stocks do work out, you can draft running backs and put yourself in a win now state in one draft. That's the thing about it as well. But let's say none of these penny stocks do work out, and you don't implement my strategy. You try to go for these big boomer bust young talent guys. What's going to end up happening to your team is none of these guys are going to hit. You're going to have no draft capital to show for these guys, and you're going to be in an even worse situation than you were. So yes, if none of these guys do hit, you are putting yourself in a longer term rebuild, but you're allowing yourself to invest in more penny stocks, allowing for you to reset these things, and allowing for these players to potentially boom in 2023. So if none of these guys hit and you're wondering why your team is bad, it's because none of your guys hit. But now, if they didn't hit, you would be in such a massive ditch without draft capital for the future that there's nothing you're going to be able to do. On top of that, if you don't want to go for the long-term rebuild in that point, then you could be able to take these draft capital along with any kind of scraps that you have on your team left if nothing really did hit, and you'd be able to turn them into veteran studs and be able to turn your team into a win-now state. So I think acquiring draft capital, it's like a bond. It's like a bond exchange. It is cash in your pocket. It's cash that's always going to increase in value. It's things that you're never going to have to worry about. If you're in a win, if you end up turning into a win now state, you will probably win your league because you're getting these stud running backs in the first round. And second, you're giving yourself more opportunities to acquire penny stocks. Third, if you end up not hitting on any players, then you still have a security blanket. You're still able to go out and trade for veterans in the future, and you're still able to kind of reset that rebuild. So that's my take on why you should be trading for 2022-2023 picks for the future. It's the best rebuild strategy in my opinion. That is what I would be implementing if I was in a rebuild. I just think it's the best way to go about things. Let me know what strategies you guys like to implement in your rebuilds. This is another Dynasty Short from your boy Mike. Peace, guys.